10 years ago, I stood on a similar TEDx stage and said that the technology behind Bitcoin, one of the biggest innovations of our time, would soon impact society in a positive way. It was a statement that was received with big question marks. Almost nobody knew what blockchain meant. Today, probably most of you know about it. Some of you maybe haven't invested, and if you were lucky, you made some money out of it. But that's about it. That's what it's known for today. As a way to get rich fast, avoid paying taxes, or maybe even get scammed. The tools that should have enabled financial independence were hijacked by corporations to maintain the status quo. Even after more than a decade, this is still the case today. But this is not rare. If you look at other areas of innovation breakthroughs, like the internet or social networks, they also promised to bring more freedom. They said that we were at the beginning of a great democratization. What was previously available to a few would suddenly become accessible to many. And yes, technology became widely available, but it was never in the service of democracy or freedom. With the spread of technology, we exchanged our digital life for convenience. We fueled the rise of tech monopolies by giving them our attention and our money, all while we were distracted with the positives, like having access to the world knowledge or connecting with the people around the world. As a 10-year-old optimist, I recognized the potential and the power that technology had pretty early. That's why today I literally have technology under my skin, in the form of several computer chip implants, like this one here on my wrist, that I use for cryptography. But I fail to focus on the dangers hidden in the structures and the ways technology is monetized. I really should have known better. I come from Venezuela, and there I experienced firsthand what happens when power is concentrated in just a few hands. Centralization leads to authoritarian systems. It doesn't matter if it's in governments or in corporations. If you combine centralization with technology, you get a very efficient system for manipulation. And it's really hard to get out of it. But a corporation working against the will of the majority is nothing surprising. If you take a quick look inside the modern corporation, you will find an authoritarian structure. The few in power set the goals and appoint those in charge who only answer to them. The system, working perfectly as designed, has proven highly efficient. I've been playing in this system for more than 20 years. I've started several companies, raised capital, invested, merged some companies, and even sold them. The problem, when we remove democratic processes from our everyday lives, is that we blindly trust those in power to steer the boat. This quickly translates from companies to the rest of society and into government. Strong centralized structures start to look natural, inevitable, or even desirable. Most of us, even in democracies, live our day-to-day life in authoritarian structures. We're consumers with little to no say. We're employees or founders of companies controlled by those with the most shares. We learn the narrative that these structures work efficiently and that participation is low and messy. It's no wonder an ever-growing number of voters around the world idolize strong figures. These often promise to run the state with the efficiency of a corporation. What we often forget is that it leads into a dangerous territory, towards the loss of freedoms and closer to dictatorships. Luckily, in many places, freedom still exists, and we can use it to change the course. So let's do a small thought experiment. What would the operating system of our economy look like if we were to rewrite it completely from scratch with the knowledge that we have today? How can we have organizations that create value for the majority? Well, we most likely need a new type of organization. One that is not authoritarian by nature, but democratic at its core. One where the customers are the owners, balancing out the tensions between good products and maximum returns. one that uses new technologies to transform today's participation inefficiencies into a collective superpower. Let me tell you, most of this, it's not futuristic. It's a model that has been around since the late 1800s. I'm talking about cooperatives, or co-ops, organizations that are democratically controlled and owned by its members. These members agree to profit share, and each exercises only one vote. It's a departure from the model of voting with money that we see in corporations today. A different system that was created for people and not for capital. But just like a corporation, it's able to raise money, and its members can have shares that generate returns. Cooperatives have long combined economic efficiency with democratic control. And as Nobel Prize winner Elinor Ostrom showed in 1990, decentralized community-based governance works. Communities can manage shared resources sustainable with privatization or state control when they manage democratic rules. Self-governance can be more efficient and fair than either the market or the state. But you may ask, why haven't cooperatives reached their full potential? They have historically been smaller, locally rooted, and play almost no important role in the international markets, with a few exceptions, like Spanish Mondragon. In 2024, they had a combined revenue of over 11 billion euros, while employing more than 70,000 people. It's living proof that cooperatives can scale. One of the reasons cooperatives usually don't grow as much is that they prioritize democratic participation above all else. This can slow down the decision-making process and scaling. The good thing is that we now have distributed digital ledgers. The same technology I praised 10 years ago, which makes participation and ownership scalable. Sets of rules packaged into so-called decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, are serving as a blueprint for what a futuristic digital legal entity can be. But we all know that when something is technologically possible, it's not so easy to implement legally. But fortunately, there is progress here too. The United Nations General Assembly declared 2025 the International Year of Cooperatives. And since last January 1st, cooperatives in Germany have even become the most digitally advanced legal form of business. Who would have thought that would happen in Germany? Co-ops, or how we call them in Germany, Genossenschaften, can help us learn at a small scale what often sounds utopian. It can be the breeding ground for universal basic income and digital fluid democracy. The ideas and the technologies are here, and even more and more in different places, the legal framework. What's missing is the determination to restart the operating system of our economy. Just imagine how different our digital lives would be if users of social media companies could steer these giants into delivering value for them. It's probably unlikely that those apps would hack our brains and turn us into doom-scrolling zombies like they do now. Maybe they would have continued to deliver the promise of connecting people, facilitating communication and discussion without huge distractions. When companies fulfill basic needs like these, we need structures to stop them from exploiting their customers and their users. This doesn't just apply for social media companies. We are witnessing a turning point in history with the rise of AI, clean energy, and biotechnology. All of them technologies that should never fall into the hands of monopolies owned by the few. We need a new framework to manage all the resources and assets we rely on, whether physical or intangible. Digital platform cooperatives can offer a solution. So let's break this idea free of its comfort zone right now, which is within small credit unions, regional farming, or housing projects. grow those into new dimensions, but move those ideas also into the tech sector. And by doing so, we'll most likely strengthen global democracy in the process. I really don't want to see recent history repeat itself. The concentration of power in big tech, or even the sad fall into the dictatorship of my home country. For this reason, I invite you to do one thing. Stop feeding the systems that maintain a small group in power and enslave us by joining cooperatives near you. And if you're thinking of starting a scalable business, start with a powerful community that co-owns it. We already have the template to build better organizations, and through them, an economy that works for us, not against us. We don't need to wait for a revolution. We can act now to create a more democratic and participative economy. One that can finally start to make sense for the majority of us. Muchas gracias. Thank you.